I don't see a problem with it, personally.
I think it's certainly better than relying on coal and oil and natural gas. But at the same time, I can't ignore the dangers.
What dangers are they, though? Because we definitely moved past Hiroshima and Chernobyl.
I've heard it described that a nuclear power plant is at once the safest and the most dangerous place on Earth. And even if there's only a 99% chance that, even if there's only a 1% chance that things go bad, because the UK and Europe is such a dense population, we're very packed in close together, it would be like a nightmare scenario. But I don't want to sound like a doomsayer either, because, the way I see it, if I'm willing to trust scientists and scientific consensus when it comes to climate change, I'm willing to trust it when it comes to nuclear power plants. And if they say, this is the best hope we got, then I am not one to disagree with them. But yeah, as for the official Green Party policy on nuclear power plants, that's a bit tricky.
Is there a stance? Is there?
I'm not aware of one. I haven't looked that deeply, if I'm honest.
Because I heard, in Switzerland at least, I think it's almost 90% renewable energy power in there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because it's the same with places like Scandinavia. There is an argument that they've got a lot of natural gas they can just sell off as well. But Switzerland is a landlocked country and they've got so much renewable energy. So again, it can be done, but it's just overcoming these vested and powerful capitalist interests, which makes me sound like Lenin, but but it is true. There are so many barriers in the way to sort of, this progress that we do really need. It's very frustrating sometimes to look at it and be, and that's what motivates a lot of the XR people, because they feel like the democratic way of, enacting social change has failed them. So they have to resort to, civil unrest action.
It does sound kind of scary when you put it like that, right?
Yeah. Again, but you don't want to go to either way. You want to tell people that it's bad, but not so much that they feel there's nothing they can do. Because if you just sort of overload them in negativity, they just sort of tend to shut down, trying to think about it like a survival instinct, because, there's nothing we can do about it. What's the point? And that's
no hope.
And again, that's not wrong, because one of the great lies put forward by the climate change denial lobby, the business interest, is the idea of an individual carbon footprint that me and you both have, that everyone has in theory. That the idea that somehow each of us as individuals has the power to change, to save the climate if we just alter our daily habits. And that's not true.
Why is that not true? We can all have an impact.
We could, yeah, but that won't be anywhere near enough unless the major businesses and the major polluters actually start changing things up. It's like a drop in the water. It will have an effect, but it will be nothing unless the major polluters actually do something. Like one CEO produces, millions of times more, pollution than we could ever do with our paper straws, for example. So, even though I'm not saying like don't do that, because there are benefits other than just saving the planet, a lot of renewable energy. But it's still frustrating. And one thing I'd like to hear your opinion on is that, say that, we're actually wrong about the climate crisis and we can keep going. It's not going to be as bad as we think. We can keep going as we are. We can maintain our standard of living. If we change it anyway, all we've done is that we've, improved a lot of the poor people, and we've also brought in renewable energy, which we're going to have to do anyway at some point, because there's only a limited amount of fossil fuels left. And if we're wrong, we've also saved the planet. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but if we changing up our entire economy, it's a sort of an inverted Pascal's wager, because if we're wrong about climate change and change the economy anyway to a more green-focused one, we've just made things better. And if we're right about climate change, we made things better and we've saved the planet. You see where I'm coming from?
I can understand. And I think most people across they can, in the West at least, because there's an understanding, okay, climate change is happening, and it is a thought. I think that one of the biggest barriers is just it's expensive.
Yes.
It's too expensive. Like buying a Tesla is like 50 grand.
Don't get me into Teslas and Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Electric cars aren't as good as you think they are. That's
they have a lot of environmental, when you're getting cobalt from the ground, you're extracting it, and it's a whole sorts of environmental concerns.
Yeah.
But it isn't the idea that we're moving away from petrol over to a kind of, and if the whole electricity grid is on renewable energy, there's nothing wrong, right?
Again, that is true. I, for one, would like to see a much more emphasis on public transport.
So moving away from cars.
Yes, I feel, again, this is me personally speaking, but I feel like cars should be like the fourth mode of transport, behind public transport, walking, or car sharing. Again,
you didn't mention planes.
Planes. Again, back to what I was saying earlier about our individual carbon footprint. If millionaires are taking 3-minute flights, pumping thousands of tons of CO2 into the atmosphere, that's more than anything we could do in an entire year.